Hi, we're on Chapter 3, Lesson 2, Estimating Products. Please turn to page 185 in your textbook. So, again, let's talk about the steps. Step 1 is to estimate. This will never change. If you estimate with whole numbers, and then step 2 is to calculate or compute. And then step 3 is to compare your estimate with answer. And this is where I see people skipping step 3. You do the estimate, and then you do the calculation, and then you forget to actually look at your estimate and see if it has anything to do with your answer. You really do need to do this, because if you do this one step, it will prevent you from making careless mistakes. All right, let's look at the real world link. We'll wait for the bell to finish. So, the record for the greatest distance traveled on a skateboard in 24 hours was set by James Peters. He traveled 7.6 miles per hour. So we're going to plot 7.6 on the number line. That would be about here, 7.6. What whole number is 7.6 closest to? We know that's 8. Now we're going to estimate how many miles James Peters traveled in 24 hours. We're going to change this to 25 because, again, we're making an estimate, and we can think quarters very easily. That would be 8 quarters. 8 quarters is $2 or 200 pennies. And we know that we've estimated high, which means that our actual answer will be lower. All right, a new record was set later by Ted McDonald. He traveled about 10.1 miles per hour. About how much further did Ted travel? So again, let's go 10. That's 240. 240 minus 200. And I know we rounded up, but it's okay. Oops, sorry. That would be 40. So about 40 miles further. Okay, let's turn the page and keep going. So now let's talk about the rounding rules. We know if the digit is 4 or less, you keep it the same. If it's 5 or greater, you add 1 to the digit. So again, when we talk about rounding, I think it's more important to think in terms of multiples and powers of 10. Because again, the whole point is that you can estimate in 2 to 3 seconds. You're not actually calculating the answer. You're doing a mental estimation so that when you calculate your answer makes sense. All right, let's look at the examples. So we're going to estimate 8.7 times 2.8. In this case, we know that 8.7 is closer to 9 and 2.8 is closer to 3. So we have 9 times 3, which is 27. Now, what if we had done 8 times 2 and gotten 16? Are we still okay? Well, let's see. 8.7, 2.8. That's a 6. That's a 5. That's 64 plus 5 is 69. That's an X, that's a 14, carry my 1, that's a 17, that's a 6, that's a 3, carry my 1, that's a 4, that's a 1, that's a 2, 1, 1, 2 bunny hops, and we get 24.36. Waiting for the bell. And we notice that 24.36 falls between 16 and 27. It's closer to 27, but it still falls within the 2. So they're both good estimates. All right, let's look at number 2. We have 42.6. We're not going to round that to 42. We're going to round that to 40. And then we're going to round the 37 also to 40. So then we have 40 times 40. 40 times 40, 4 times 4 is 16, add your 2 zeros. So again, we have an estimate of 1,600. Let's see what the answer to this particular problem would be to see if we're close. We've got a 12, that's a 5, that's an 8. That's a 2, that's a 4, that's an 18, carry my 1, that's a 9, that's a 2. 2x's is 10, that's an 18, that's a 7, that's a 12. That's a 2, that's a 7, 6, that's 24. That's 2, that's 18, carry my 1, that's a 5, and that's a 1. And then we got a 1 and a 1, which is 2 bunny hops, 1, 2. So the answer is 1584.72. So the question is that close? Of course that's close. So we know that's a good estimate. All right, your turn. Get it, got it, go. Pause the video. See you in a minute. Did you get what I got? I got an estimate of 20, 12, and 1,400. Again, I round up when we have multiples of 10 to the nearest whole 10. So in C, I rounded 70 times 20. 7 times 2 is 14. Add 2 zeros. Turn the page. Okay, so in word problems, again, it's very important that you actually read the words and try to figure out what mathematical operation you have to do. A greyhound can travel 39.3 miles per hour. Ooh, that's my key right there. That's a multiplier word, so we know we're going to multiply. At this speed, how far could a greyhound travel in 6.5 hours? So let's go ahead and round the 39.3 up to 40. So then we have 40 times 6, or 40 times 7. In this case, we have, we have 240, or we have 280. And again, those are both excellent estimations because we know that the answer, the whole component of the answer, is 3 digits. All right, so next one. Suppose $1 US is equal to 5.8 Egyptian pounds. About how many Egyptian pounds would you receive for $48.50? So in this case, I now have a line equal line, and I've got dollars and Egyptian pounds. And it doesn't matter whether I put the dollar on top or bottom because they're both money. I always stress that money goes on top, but in this case, they're both currencies. One is the US and the other is Egyptian pound. So we know for every US dollar, it's equal to 5.8 Egyptian pounds. We're going to round that to 6. How many would you receive for $48.50? And again, we're going to go with 50. So we're going to put a 50 here. So to go from here to here is times 50. So we're going to multiply by 50. And we're going to get approximately 300. About 300 US pounds. All right, your turn. Get it, got it, go. Okay, so in problem D, we're rounding 18.6 to 20 and 4.8 to 5. 20 times 5 is 100. The next one, 4.8 to 5. 5 and 3 is 15. Now let's look at problem number F. A king palm can grow about 2.1 feet a year. Estimate the height of the king palm in yards after 15 years. That's crucial to note that we've gone from feet to yards. Anytime you have any kind of measurement, always check to see if you have to do a conversion. In this case, we did. We went 2 times 15, which is 30, and then we had to divide by 3 because we know there's 3 feet in a yard, and so then we got approximately 10 yards. Turn the page. Okay, and our last word from Patrice is $20 to buy 5 binders. Binders cost $4.29 each. Does she have enough money? You can look at this 2 ways. You can go 20 divided by 5 and get $4. And we have that, so the answer right there is no. Or we could have done 5 times 4 and gotten 20 and realized that it has some sense to it, and we still have a no. So the answer to that question, either way, is no. All right. So do the guided practice. I'll see you soon. Pause the video. All right. right, in number 1 I got 24, number 2 I got 45, number 3 I got 300. And again, remember, these are estimates. So if your estimate is not exactly the same as mine, but in the ballpark, it's good. Why? Because they're estimates. In number 4, we rounded up to $4 and 1 pound, so that's $8. So we know that actually it's a little bit cheaper. And then the last one, we have 7 songs at 7.9 megabytes. Then we're going to round that to 8. 7 times 8 is 56. Yes, it's reasonable, and no, he does not have enough space. When doing estimates, it's all about using the whole numbers. All right, thanks. See you in class.